Hey guys, for this painting I kind of had the idea of something romantic like Pride and Prejudice, and she goes off into the woods and picks wildflowers or something. Unfortunately, I think my concept blending and hella on loose strokes kind of seemed to make it more plain than whimsical. This idea probably came from the fact that I was scrolling through Netflix and saw that Pride and Prejudice was on. So I had just recently watched it and I got inspired. So I just started with like a pencil outline, and let me tell you, I will never use pencil again. I understand why artists now use a red pencil, because then that way if it does bleed, it's not going to get into your paint and make it all muddy. Here I'm creating the different seams of the dress to give it more of like a flapper girl feel, I guess. I didn't care what's going on. Unfortunately, I looked back, and when I destroyed the first top seam, the bottom one just looked kind of out of place, and I didn't realize this until, let me tell you, way later. But don't worry, I fixed it. At this point of the painting, I was like, I did the face, I did the body. What else is there to do? So instead of continuing and doing the dreaded background and the terrible flowers, I just sat there and thought about it for about an hour about how I should paint them. Then I scrolled through Instagram trying to get some inspiration, but of course getting distracted. So I went to Pinterest looking at different flowers and how to freaking draw them and just trying to find an easy way. I found out that there was no easy way, and I decided it was time to get out of the house and focus on something else. I headed to Waikiki with Sarah, and we went to the Musubi Cafe. They had so many options, but we ended up getting this eel, egg, and avocado musubi, and then Sarah got a salmon, however you pronounce it, and I got seaweed. And let me tell you, I freaking love the seaweed. It's kind of like marinated in something just to make it so good. Oh my god, it's to die for. It is amazing. Sarah tried the eel one first and she loved it, and then I tried it and I hated it. It was a little pasty, and to be honest, it was probably just the thought that I was eating a sea snake, and I couldn't get the image of it out of my head. Then of course we walked around and found a really cool jewelry store that I just had to show you guys. They had these art prints that were hung on the wall, and then they had their jewelry that was pinned into them as like a display. They also hung the jewelry off the book, so that was pretty cool too. Of course, after walking around, we wanted more food, so I took Sarah to my favorite ramen place. But look, more beautiful flowers that are haunting me that I cannot paint. Because we ate before, we ended up sharing this like ginger ramen, and afterwards we headed to a beer wall just to drown my sorrows of not being able to paint flowers, and then we called it a night. Good morning, guys. It is deathly dreary outside and amazingly comfy. It's pouring down rain and super hot in my apartment, but I'm still wearing my wool sweater and my shorts to cool off. It's like 7 a.m. and I figured I should take some time off and finish my painting. It's been a long time since I've worked on it, and it's kind of just sitting there. I'm ready to start painting again and see what I can come up with. Also, a little side note, during this procrastination state, I watched Harry Potter. Like all 7, 8, 10 movies of them. because I couldn't finish this painting. I couldn't even start a dimper painting because I hadn't even finished this painting. I don't know, does that happen to you guys? Where you can't start one project without finishing another? Now, this is where I should have just gotten lighter and lighter, but I keep filling up the flowers with so much pink that it almost matches the dress and there's no contrast. So at this point, if there wasn't any circular brush strokes, it would just look like a weird extension of the dress. And right here is where I lose the long fingers. I wanted it to be like the flowers were falling over them, but nope, now they just look like little studs, and I try to go back and fix them, but obviously not too good of a job, so we're just gonna leave that. But now I have these gigantic flowers that are but I've never seen anyone's like these in real life. So I move on to the background, and I kind of wanted it to be romantic and loose and like, ooh, walking in the forest, stumbling upon beautiful flowers, however abnormally large they are, and she goes and picks them. Oh, and this is the part where I get rid of that seam in that dress to make it more like flowy. Because I have this crazy dark background, I learned something new. I don't know if you can tell, but the face looks a lot lighter and there's barely any shadows than what was there before. And I think this was because I had done the face with a white background, so I didn't have as deep as colors as I needed with such a dark background. I go back in and I try to add more shadows to the face to make it pop instead of just being like a light blob. In the background, I think about adding like a bush with the flowers on it, but wow, how ugly. I then hurry up and blend them together, and now I got this weird green background with smears of white in it, but hey, overall, not too bad, and it turned out all right.